former U.S. attorney, a lawyer. Does SB 1070 racially profile?
I think that is not the central thesis of the government's concern about 1070.
But does it? I mean that's what, the Attorney General sort of was like, sort of said something like that, and the President says it's misguided. But there are an awful lot of boycotts in this country, and I spoke to someone who's outside Major League Baseball All-Star game the other night who doesn't want the Major League Baseball All-Star game in Arizona next year because it racially profiles in the statute. So we need someone to give us an announcement. Does the statute racially profile or not?
Look, the statute itself is in litigation and is going to be heard by a federal judge this week. So I don't want to comment too much on it.
That's not an issue, though. The judge doesn't even have that issue.
I think, and that's right, and that's because the federal government's case is based on the fact that we don't want 50 different state immigration laws.
Which is the other issue. But in terms of the hot button item that really has people, and a lot of people enraged, I guess I'm trying to find someone of stature within our federal government, someone who is a lawyer who's looked at it, to say, this statute does racially profile or not. We know the federal government isn't raising that. Can we assume that means that the federal government's reading of the statute is that, while they don't like it, that it doesn't racially profile?
I think what you can say is that on what's called a facial challenge to the law, which is before it's been applied, that is not the central theory of the federal government's case. The federal government is saying, look, the Constitution gives the federal government responsibility for enforcement of the immigration laws. We are enforcing our nation's immigration laws. We believe strongly that those laws need to be enforced. We believe at the same time it needs to be a better law. And that's why we want Congress to act. But at the same time, we believe strongly in the enforcement of the law, both at the border and in the interior of our country. And the problem, as set forth by our Justice Department in federal court, is that you have now a possibility of every state adopting its own immigration enforcement strategy, and that's not what the Constitution contemplates.
And the state, of course, is arguing that we're not creating our own immigration policy. We are an adjunct or supporting the existing law because if you're illegal, you're illegal, is their argument.
Look, like I said, these are things that need to be litigated in court. We're going to continue with our enforcement and our enforcement strategies with the priorities I have set.
As the ex-governor of Arizona, and in light of these boycotts and of all the upset in the nation, should those boycotts be ended?
That's up to those who are doing them. I will simply say this: Arizona it's a great state, and I think it's a state that is, passed a law that I consider to be misguided. The legal challenge has been brought. It will be resolved in federal court one way or the other. In the meantime, however, as someone who is very familiar with the border, familiar with border states, familiar with immigration and immigration policy, we are going to continue to enforce the law the way we see best.